What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Criterion Corner. This is the episode where I pick films from the Criterion collection and give you recommendations. And if you're a fan of the Criterion collection, it's the month of July. And in July, every single year, Barnes & Noble does a deal where they do 50% off every Criterion film. And so I thought it would be fun to do some recommendations and talk some more about these films. I've been focusing pretty heavily on the A24 archive recently, watching those films. I'm getting back into watching some Criterion movies. And so today I want to talk about a filmmaker who I absolutely love, and I'm a huge fan of Ingmar Bergman. I think if you're a film lover and you've ever watched one of his movies, you probably adore his work. And originally I wanted to talk about Persona, but I thought it would be more fun to talk about one of his films I'd never seen that I just watched. And I watched this on the Criterion channel. I don't own a physical copy of it yet, but the film I'm going to be talking about today is The Seventh Seal. The Seventh Seal is directed by Ingmar Bergman. When disillusioned Swedish knight Antonius Block returns home from the Crusades to find his country in the grips of the Black Death, he challenges death to a chess match for his life. Tormented by the belief that God does not exist, Block sets off on a journey, meeting up with traveling players Jove and his wife, Mia, and becoming determined to evade death long enough to commit one redemptive act while he still lives. Typical to Bergman, this movie is genius. I've seen a few of his films. I love Persona and Autumn Sonata, and this was the first time I'd seen The Seventh Seal, and you don't realize until you watch it how many times this movie has been referenced in other works of film, especially when it comes to the chess match between Antonius Block and Death, which happens in the first 5 minutes of the film. But what's really brilliant about this movie is, at its core, it's all about the conversations between these people and the commentary on religion and how religion has a grasp on people's lives. And I think, for a movie that was made in this time period, it's so poignant even now as to how religion affects all of our lives. So you have these guys who went and fought in the Crusades, and Antonius Block is there with the guy he fought in the war with, and the two of them are together all the time, and they have these conversations. And there's one point where they're talking to this guy who's doing this art inside of a church, and they're talking about the Crusades, and they literally reference how goofy the whole thing is, and how going to war, literally their entire young lives, they're gone for years and years and years fighting for this cause that seems so stupid. And it's like the church forced people to think that this was the most important thing in the world. And it was really fascinating to see it from the perspective of these people who are like, yeah, this is kind of dumb. The reason why we went to do this is crazy. And what I love about Antonius Block's character is that he knows death is coming for him. He knows that he's going to die. And the entire movie is this question of, is God even real? Does God exist? Did I spend all this time in my life fighting for something that even matters? What is death? What is going to happen to me after I die? And there's all these super brilliant scenes. There's this amazing scene where there's a woman who is going to be executed because they said that she's practicing witchcraft and that she's talked to Satan. And he goes up to her cart and he's like, hey, have you seen Satan? Have you talked to him? I want to know if God is real. And he'll know if God is real. And it's just this really beautiful exploration of this person who's trying to figure this out. Well, then all of the stuff involving them is really dark and brooding and terrible. And then you have this family who there's this husband and his wife and their young son, and they're part of this traveling performance group who is constantly putting on these plays. And there's such a vibrance and a happiness to their existence compared to this really dark and brooding and awful existence that these people involved in the Crusades have. And it's interesting to see that parallel, and I wonder how it is in Bergman's mind of an artist's life compared to a person who dedicates their life to religion, and how seeing the drastic split between these two groups of people, and how the artists are living this really fulfilled life of excitement, intrigue, and just enjoying every moment. They're living out of this cart, and they're just doing what they love. And they seem so happy just being in this tight-knit family together. Whereas you see these guys who were in the Crusades, and they're so miserable, and every element of their life is so bleak and awful. And when Antonius Block meets them, his perspective almost seems to shift, and he becomes happier just seeing this young kid and this family who is thriving and happy and excited for the future. And I loved that. And typical of Bergman, like his films have so much incredible commentary. There's this one scene that I thought was just amazing where the family is performing for this group of people and it's everybody's laughing and having a good time and they're so happy, and then this group of like religious nut jobs comes through and they're carrying this crucifix with Jesus on it where his face is like so disformed and disfigured, screaming at people about like the plague and pestilence and all this, and it just immediately brings the mood down. It destroys the environment of everyone around them, and I think that that's really a heavy commentary on Bergman's end about religion as a whole and how religion makes people feel and how religion destroys people. And I thought that it was just an absolutely brilliant scene, and there's so much incredible moments scattered throughout this film, and there's so many amazing performances. Max von Sydow's performance is absolutely incredible. He was one of my favorite parts of the whole movie. And yeah, I mean, a million people have talked about this film in the past. I just think it's incredible. If you have a Criterion Channel subscription, watch it, or go to Barnes & Noble and pick this one up. I am planning on getting a copy. I thought it was amazing. So have you seen The Seventh Seal? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was brilliant. It was so well acted and well directed, and I look forward to watching more in Bergman's catalog. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.